That's right. Whenever you're ready, Red.
Good morning, all.
Good morning.
I'm Osbury on behalf of Red Group. Did you know that over the last 3 years, there were 954 NAV admins released via My Navy HR? All right. Senior enlisted leaders should understand the various platforms available for information dissemination and also know how to decipher those platforms so we can better ensure that our sailors remain current and relevant to it. This presentation will cover the various communication platforms, discussion of its effectiveness, and our recommendations of how to better properly disseminate the information. Without further ado, I present you Master Sergeant Morales with the background.
All right. So the use of multiple communication channels made by modern technological advances contributes to information overload and hinders the effectiveness or the effective implementation of policy changes. Our team found 10 different platforms the Navy uses to pass personnel, policy, and change information, such as My Navy HR, email, Marine Online, Facebook, NAV admins, MAR admins, town halls, divots, Department of Defense, and Department of the Navy memorandums. Now, personnel of all ranks have difficulty in keeping up with the changes and widespread platforms on which information is published. For example, from 1970 to 1973, there were 121 Z-grams released by Admiral Zimwalt. Fast forward 45 years later, from 2019 to 2021, there were 954 NAV admins published via My Navy HR. In an attempt to combat this, the Navy released My Navy Portal, which was launched in 2017. The intent was to provide online career management on a self-service basis. Now, multiple policy updates are provided. However, sailors of all ranks receive this information simultaneously, leaving leadership with a short turnaround to seek this information, process this information, and implement training when needed. So now that we have discussed the background, we will proceed to the discussion portion, briefed by Chief Wynn.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Data overload. So I know the other group mentioned My Navy Portal has 94 hyperlinks. 96 hyperlinks. And our group said 94. Well, a couple of them is overlap. One of the example is My Navy HR and NPC lead to the same website. Data overload, right? Annually, we release about 311 NAV admin. However, 58% of them only relevant to a specific group of people. One of the examples is the fleet-wide home competition. Do we really need to know about it? The second issue we encounter is we tend to put the cart before the horse. When, however, policy is released without the leadership have all the information to support the policy change. One of the examples is the GMAP policy, right? Where this four rating ADF, ABH, CS, and GSM, the effective date for those policies have to be March 1st, 2022. However, the pay and spending chart did not update until April 22nd. There's some success story that we need to follow, right? Example like the change in the plank, physical readiness, right? How data test cycle will be conducted in group. We provide a test cycle, then they collect the data and implement the change. Is that a question? Are we really communicate effectively across all generations? Of all the social media apps that we create, we are so focused on the Generation Z, which is about 34% of our total force right now. The older generation took about 65%, which is the achievement and the wardrobe. And we are the group of personnel that need to understand the policy so that we can probably support our sailors because we are the change agent. And why senior leadership might consider the following recommendation that Senior Chief Romero would give us.
Good morning.
Good.
So considering all of the data we put out, what we'd most importantly like to highlight is that the recommendations that Red Group is going to make will be cost effective, minimal if any cost, because what we're going to do is focus on enhancing the use or the effective nature of the platforms that already exist. Our first recommendation would be to upgrade existing official websites, such as the My Navy HR we've all talked about, My Navy Portal, right? So technology that already exists in the civilian sector are things that we need to embrace in the Navy, like filters or filtering maybe subcategories as well. We already heard about the suggestion where we wanted to group things by community. There's no reason that a sailor shouldn't be able to go in there and go straight to a link that says everything they need to know about advancement. We should be able to click on a link that says all the nav admins that we need to know about the physical readiness program updates, so on and so forth. Group these things the way that they're already doing in the civilian world so that we can add a snap, find it, right? Secondly, we recommend retiring obsolete sources. How many times have you been reading nav admins and unsure whether or not you're reading the latest and greatest one? Maybe during COVID, when all those nav admins are out. I know that I certainly was on the nav admins wondering if I'm putting out bad data, because I don't think after the second one came out, I was ever sure that I was on the most recent information. The stuff changed day to day, week to week, month to month throughout the entire evolution. We also recommend engaging fleet SMEs. So, we highlighted it with the updates to the physical readiness program. We did an excellent job with that. We were considering a major change, and instead of inviting a small group to Washington, we reached out to the fleet. We got with subject matter experts. We pushed out what we thought might work. We garnered feedback, both positive and negative, and we incorporated it into the solution, which was eventually implemented the following year. And it worked. Why aren't we doing it all the time? And finally, we recommend more use of the Navy's official survey policy. So the Navy has a survey policy, like SurveyMonkey, the websites that we use to send all those things out whenever we're in our college courses, right? So in 2008, actually the last update to this policy was in 2008. Between 2016 and now, there are only 12 documented surveys that the Navy has used to garner feedback from the fleet. We all know that if you want to know what a sailor thinks, all you have to do is ask them.
This presentation covered the various platforms utilized to disseminate information, the discussions of effectiveness, and our recommendation as Red Group to how we feel like we can better further that dissemination. All of us in this room, as senior enlisted leaders, should understand that yes, there are various platforms, but we have to know how to decipher it to make sure that our sailors are still getting that current information. The great composer once said it best: the great myth of our time is that technology is communication, but is it really? We thank you on behalf of Red Group.